Many people believe that throughout history, there have been individuals who possess the ability to control others with their thoughts, to read the minds of others, and to even make changes in the physical world simply by thinking about it. Well, what if I told you that was true and that you could do it as well? What if you had a survival group and you were moving through an area trying to be undetected, and you needed your entire group to stop, and you didn't even have to raise a hand? Everybody could see what you're seeing and know instinctively what their role in the group should be. What if I told you that was real? That it was possible? It's not easy, but the military trains, and the military now has this ability because they've been training on it for so long. Plato said human behavior flows from three main sources: desire, emotion, and knowledge. Based on which one of these second two things I mentioned, you can determine the first of an individual simply by observation. Quantum physics has determined that simply looking at something, observing something, changes its characteristics. This is the fundamental of all telepathy and telekinesis. Over at the Florida Maquis Patreon channel, I give you guys an insight into the training that I took in the military. I've said before, I'll say it again. I was no super soldier. I was no door kicker, no Delta, no sniper, none of this stuff. My job was the human mind. Persuade, change, influence. Earlier today, uploaded a video beginning this specific aspect, showing how you can simply use your mind and your behavior to influence others, and how by watching others and their behavior, you can literally read their minds. Now, it's not all at once, but eventually, if you stick with the training and you join the training, you will have a decided tactical advantage over your enemies. It starts with the 24 logical fallacies, the 24 cognitive biases that we've talked about so many times. For $1 a month, would you like that tactical advantage? Would you like to 3 months, 6 months, 9 months down the road be able to operate with your group in a way where all you had to do was look at each other? We'd love to have you over there. $1 per month, not per video, not per week. Even less if you sign up for an entire year. Many have already joined the training, and check the comments section below here. There's quite a few people that show up here and will attest that the training is worth it. The amount of things that you can take away are priceless, unlike dried foods and beans, bolts, Band-Aids, things that we've talked about. Those things all eventually have an expiration date. Knowledge and training never does, because it never ends. I've showed images like this before, briefly, and many people could not identify the 5 different emotions from these 5 different scenes. People got distracted by everything else around. They were unable to focus. We talk about the 5 separate emotions that you can see in these 5 separate images. And if you think I'm kidding, this is an article from 2014. Soon, soldiers will be communicating by telepathy. You will stand absolutely no chance against any other group that has this ability if you don't. If you have to be giving hand signals, if you have to be verbally communicating, if you have to be using radios, you might as well be using muskets against the modern military, because their ability to communicate is going to be so far beyond what you'll have the ability to deal with. You might as well just give up now. I wanted to cover this again because some have come to me about Bitcoin and said, I can't imagine all of this investment in the infrastructure of this new form of currency just going by the wayside. Well, this has happened in the past. It started to eke back down again. It had kind of come back up. It's basically in its death throes. And right here, December 14, it was at 48,392. And that's when I made my first video saying it's time to get out of Bitcoin. Time to get out of cryptocurrency. There are things coming down the road that nobody is talking about, nobody is foreseeing, and it's going to cause its collapse. Well, those things have arrived. Primarily the Fed announcing that over the next year they're going to be raising interest rates 7, perhaps 9 different times. And every single time they do, there is going to be an enormous capital flight of institutional investors out of this, and it's going to drop probably below 5,000. And that's not overstating the case. But those of you who believe in the infrastructure being wasted, who remembers the 1990s? The 1980s, really. There were video stores everywhere. And think of all the infrastructure that had to go in to create Hollywood Video, Blockbuster Video, Family Video, all of the independent video chains where you went and rented videos. There were even things, VHS rewinders, so that you didn't ruin your nice VCR, the Motorhead on it. All of the containers, the plastic snap containers, all of the industry that was behind all of this, all gone. Are there still places to rent videos? Yeah. But is it what it was? No. Not even close. It was an entire industry for decades. 80s, 90s, even into the early 2000s a little bit. A lot of kids, I knew a lot of people that I went to school with, this first job they ever had, working the video counter. Who remembers how popular these were? Car alarms. Well, what do we know now? Yeah, you can still buy an aftermarket car alarm, but the vast majority of cars that are 6, 7, even 8 years old come with pretty much state-of-the-art car alarms from the factory. And in 5 or 10 years, these will be an afterthought. I mean, they won't be what they were. In the 90s, everybody was putting these on their cars. Everybody. That's why you don't hear as many cars having false alarms as you used to years and years ago. You can always tell it's an aftermarket alarm. Who remembers this for cassettes? Cassette head cleaner. You used to have to clean your cassette player. Think of all the infrastructure that went into creating the cleaning fluid and the tapes and the cassettes, all gone. Is it still out there? Yeah, but it's not something anybody makes any money on. It's nostalgia, really. Who remembers this? This was the iPod, 4th generation. What a cool little device this was, not so very long ago. Had a little video screen on it and it had all your music. But that's all it did. It had a little video screen on it and it had all of your music, and people were just enthralled with this. It was literally the edge of technology, and now nobody owns it because of the advent of smartphones. Drive-in movies. See, all of these are examples of things that created a great amount of infrastructure and a great amount of buzz for a certain amount of time and created jobs and investments and then went away. And now it'll be relegated to nostalgia, just like cryptocurrency. 36 minutes ago, Bitcoin is shaping up to enter a bear market and likely won't recover until 2025. It's never going to recover. And this is a co-founder of a crypto exchange. And this is the real death of it. What many people have not realized about what caused the huge increase in cryptocurrency value had to do with institutional investors. looking around and not finding any place where they could put their money where anything was guaranteed. So they went into more risky investments like crypto, knowing that it was only temporary. And when the Federal Reserve starts to bump up its interest rates, they're talking about the first bump coming in just a couple of weeks, a quarter point, 25 basis points, 50 perhaps basis points. Bitcoin is going to drop, and all cryptocurrencies will drop by half. If it's 50 basis points, perhaps more. And they're talking about in the next year, just in the next calendar year, 9 more 25 basis point increases, 8 more, and then a 9 total. By that time, interest rates get up around 2%. Kiss it goodbye. JP Morgan is even talking about this. And JP Morgan had talked about getting into the crypto sphere. Believe me, once the institutional investors go away, it is game over for crypto. Because of what? Because of soaring inflation. Interest rates go up to 2.25%. There will be absolutely no reason. It will be like the video store. Yes, there will still be crypto, but nobody will be using it. And it'll be relegated to, well, the only thing it's really good for anymore, which is criminal activity. And that's that. Because you'd have to ask yourself this final question. If you couldn't convert your crypto into dollars at will, would you hold it? If you couldn't convert your crypto to dollars at will, would you still hold it? I think a lot of people would say no. And I wouldn't blame them. And you don't have to have telepathy to see this. You just have to observe behaviors. Once again, those of you who have joined us over at Patreon, the video is up. So check your inboxes over there. That's another advantage of Patreon. You can inbox me directly over there. And kind of a funny story, there have been folks who have signed up over at Patreon just to inbox me to tell me how wrong I am about crypto. Now think about the psychology of that for just 1 second. So anyway, God bless, have a happy President's Day, and we'll see you guys next time.